registered tsunami. Tsunami is arriving in wider areas along the coastline of Tohoku, Ibaraki, Chiba, and Izu Island chain. Tsunami warning and advisory have been issued in these areas, and tsunami registered in these areas will remain coming. Therefore, please stay alert. And in some areas, sea level is still rising in some areas, even though we no longer see any red arrows anymore. What does that mean? The sea level kept rising up until very last moment, which may mean that repeated waves can come in, further causing the sea level rise. So even though we do not see any red arrows anymore, please do not relax, but stay alert. It was an earthquake of magnitude 7.4. What kind of earthquake was it? According to the press conference at Japan Meteorological Agency, Great East Japan earthquake has triggered active seismic activities along the Tohoku coastline. And I think that today's earthquake belonged to that group of earthquake. And this morning's earthquake was rather large in scale with a magnitude of 7.4, causing tsunami of higher than 1 meter in Sendai. And with a larger magnitude, the duration of tsunami warning can be longer than usual, so please stay alert. As was covered in the press coverage, there has been a rupture zones that has caused a vertical rupture as shown on this slide. That also means that the fault line could move up and down rather than horizontally. In this kind of earthquake, vertical jolt can cause larger tsunamis because that can bring the seawater up and down. As mentioned already, because it was a major earthquake, it is expected that tsunami waves remain. And sometimes different tsunami waves can be merged, creating an even higher wave. So at ports and coastlines, please stay alert. Lia-style coastline can possibly have a tsunami of even higher waves. So please be guarded against those possibilities. And Tohoku also has not fully recovered from the earthquake in 2011. There has been some subsidence of the land level, and there has been some breaches of breakwaters, which can possibly be prone to higher tsunamis. So never get closer to those areas. And full tide will be only several dozens of minutes away, so please stay alert as well. That was Nakamura, a reporter of the social news section.
That the live report of the nuclear power plants and the reactors. And this is Fukushima number 2, the nuclear plant, reactor 3, that temporarily the pump of the cooling of the spent fuel was temporarily stopped. However, that it resumed the operation after about 90 minutes. According to the TEPCO, that the jolting of the water, of the cooling water, will cause the alarm bells and the pump stopped. And that is their assumed reason for the stoppage. And this is shortly after 8 a.m. And at 6:10 at the Fukushima number 2, the nuclear plant, at the reactor 3, the cooling water pump, that the water level alarm sent out notifying or reducing the level of the cooling water, and the pump stopped automatically. And the TEPCO confirmed the tank, and there is no abnormality of the leakage of the cooling water. And after 1 hour and 40 minutes, and they restarted the pump and started the cooling operation again. And reactor 3, that the cooling spent fuel water is stopped, and that the stoppage was 6:10. However, that we resumed at the 7:47 because of the jolt of the earthquake, that the cooling water fluctuated, and the pump stopped. However, that thanks to our inspection, that we decided it is safe enough to resume that pump operation, and there is no abnormalities. The temperature of the water is that 29.5, which shows a rise of the 1 degree Celsius. However, that is no abnormal.
You've been listening to our domestic services with simultaneous interpretation. As we've been hearing, tsunami has been observed in a wide area. A series of them are reaching the coast of northeastern and eastern Japan after a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck off Fukushima Prefecture Tuesday morning. Japan's meteorological agency has so far observed waves up to 140 centimeters. The tsunami warning for coastal areas of Fukushima and Miyagi prefectures are in effect. The agency says there's a possibility a wave could reach as high as 3 meters. You're now looking at video of Sendai in Miyagi prefecture during the quake. As you can see, our cameras are moving quite violently there. Video of Sendai, Miyagi prefecture during the quake. Japan's prime minister has given a statement from Argentina.
私からは国民に対して津波避難に関する
I have ordered government officials to provide the public with up-to-date and accurate information concerning tsunami evacuation.
について指示いたしました。
Now, the meteorological agency also issued a tsunami advisory for prefectures in northeastern and eastern Japan. Anyone in those areas should listen to local authorities and disaster management officials for information and instructions. JMA is calling on people in the area where the tsunami warning is issued to leave coastal areas or riversides immediately. The agency is telling them to evacuate to a safer place, such as higher ground or an evacuation building. Remember, tsunami will hit repeatedly. Do not leave evacuation areas until the warning is cleared. We're now looking at live video of Ishinomaki in Miyagi Prefecture. Live video of Ishinomaki, Miyagi Prefecture. We can see cars on the bridge. However, a tsunami warning has been issued for Miyagi Prefecture. Do evacuate to higher ground and listen to your local authorities. An official with the meteorological agency is calling on people in the affected areas to stay on the alert for another possible quake.
There is possibility that a quake with the same strength could occur in a week or so. If a quake occurs off the coast again, it could also trigger tsunami.
We have the latest information on the tsunami levels from Japan's meteorological agency. Officials say a 1 meter and 40 centimeter tsunami hit the Sendai port in Miyagi Prefecture shortly after 8 a.m. Japan time. They also say a 90 centimeter tsunami struck Fukushima Prefecture's Soma port shortly after 7 a.m. Japan time. An 80 centimeter tsunami was observed at Miyagi Prefecture's Ishinomaki Ayukawa and at Iwate Prefecture's Kuji port before 8 a.m. Japan time. And a 60 centimeter tsunami hit the Onohama port in Fukushima Prefecture shortly before 6 a.m. Japan time. These are the tsunami heights that have been observed in Japan so far. The agency is warning that higher tsunami may have reached or will possibly reach Japanese coastal areas. Officials are urging residents on the coast to evacuate as soon as possible. The Nuclear Regulation Authority says a cooling system for a spent nuclear fuel pool at the Fukushima Dai-2 plant has resumed operation after briefly halting before, or rather following, the quake. Officials say there are no reports of abnormalities in other reactors at the plant. The reactor says there are also no reports of irregularities at other nuclear plants or facilities in the area as of 7:55 a.m. And they say there are no changes to the radiation levels at monitoring posts around those facilities. Let's go back to our domestic services. We'll be listening in with simultaneous interpretation.
And more than the 10 vessels.
Repeated waves of tsunami can be expected. Please remain evacuated. This is live footage of Iwaki Port, Fukushima Prefecture. Fukushima and Miyagi prefectures have tsunami warnings issued. Miyagi and Fukushima coastline is now under the tsunami warning. Please evacuate and get as far away as possible from the coastline at this moment. Those of you who are already on the higher land, please remain there until the warning is lifted. At around 5:59, an earthquake occurred, which resulted in the tsunami warning not only in Fukushima but also in Miyagi Prefecture. Expected height of tsunami is as high as 3 meters at most. Tsunami warning advisory is also issued for Aomori, Ibaraki, Iwate, and Kujukuri Beach of Chiba, and Sotobo and Uchiba of Chiba as well. The tsunami of up to 1 meter can arrive in those areas. At 8:03, a tsunami of 1 meter 40 centimeters have been registered at Sendai Port. And the red arrow suggests that the sea level is still rising in those areas of Sendai, Kuji, and Hunato ports. Soma Port has had a tsunami of 19 centimeters and Ishinomaki of 80 centimeters and Onahama at 60 centimeters. In some areas, higher tsunami could arrive. Get away from the coastline and evacuate to higher land. Those of you who are already evacuating, please remain there until the tsunami warning is lifted. Earthquake of 5- was registered in Fukagawa, Tsukagawa, Fukushima, Naraha, Futaba, and Namie towns in 14 municipalities, and Takahagi in Ibaraki and Otawara in Tochigi have had strong earthquakes as well. The focus of the earthquake was off the coast of Fukushima, which was 20 kilometers deep. The size of the earthquake is estimated at 7.4. Tsunami has been registered in many locations. Miyagi and Fukushima has tsunami warnings. Please remain evacuated. Fukushima, Oarai, and other areas will have a live coverage. Reporting from Iwaki City, Hisahama Town, Fukushima Prefecture, reporting from 30 meters inward. Tsunami warning has been issued for this area, even though we cannot see any major changes, visible changes. However, sirens are still running, encouraging people to evacuate. At this location, approximately 100 people have evacuated. And at 6:49, a tsunami of 60 centimeters have been registered in Onahama Port. At 10:34, Onahama Port will have a full tide, so never get closer to the coastline. At local schools and at city halls, approximately 150 people have evacuated. There are about 200 cars that have evacuated to higher lands. Hisanomamachi, Mr. Sakamoto is with us this morning. What is the evacuation status as we report? The earthquake was very strong this time, so everyone evacuated as soon as possible. Fortunately, within the first 15 minutes, all the local community members have been successfully evacuated. 54 people in my district have successfully evacuated. How did you encourage people to evacuate? Learning from the experience of 3/11/2011, we have divided the district into 3 smaller groups with leaders in the local communities, and the leaders each visited all households, telling people to evacuate, and the 3 leaders have reported us that no major damage have been reported. Hisanomachi of Iwaki City, Fukushima Prefecture.
I'm reporting live from the Shinomaki city of Miyagi Prefecture. The tsunami alert is issued to this place that I'm reporting from the slope, which I can have the command of the view. And shortly after that, the 7:39, that 80 centimeters of that tsunami was reported in Sendai port at 8:33, that 1 meter and 40 centimeters of tsunami was observed, and it is in the process of rising. During the city, that there have been the wire message of encouraging people to evacuate. In the sea, that you can see that the 10 boats are taking refuge to the outer seas. They experienced 5 years ago that the tsunami, and also that this is a place of the evacuation. More than the dozens of the people are taking refuge in this place. One of the man says that he felt the jolt in his way to the officers, and he's very scared. But the memory of 5 years ago, the great earthquake and the tsunami came to light to him. And this is Oarai, the middle school that on the slope of Miyagi, that in Ibaragi, and the 15 centimeters of that the tsunami was reported as 708. That we don't see too much of the changes of the sea level. However, that we do hear that the alarms of the emergency in cars, and some people come to the coast to see the conditions. Please do not do this; it's too dangerous. In the elementary school, and students, middle school students are encouraged to stay home, and they are giving the priority to evacuation of the people who are living close to that the coast. And the high tide, the maximum tide of the day is 10:32. Many of the boats are evacuating to that outer seas, and also the coastal guard is trying to protect the people as well as the boats. And many people have already evacuated, and well, those people that who have already evacuated, please stay. Please do not return to your homes until the alert is lifted. And please look at the report of the meteorology agency. When the alert is issued, there may be the damage of the tsunami, and those people that who are living in the coast area and the river area, that please evacuate immediately to the higher places or the high-rise buildings immediately. And the tsunami comes in several waves, and therefore please do not leave the safety areas until the warning is lifted. When the alert is issued, that please the inside of the seas or the coastal areas are extremely dangerous, and please leave these areas immediately, and keep your distance as much as possible from the distance. And the current, the ocean current is very fast, and please do not go near to the sea or the coastal areas, and please stay alert for the next several days at least. So that was the press report of the meteorological agency that we asked Akawara-san in the studio.
The tsunami of higher than 1 meter have been registered in some areas, and 50 or 60 meter high tsunami have been registered elsewhere as well. As repeatedly mentioned, tsunami is the attack by bulk of water, which in turn means that tsunami of 1 meter or higher has so much energy in it. Also, tsunami of lower than that can also wash away people around the coastline, so please stay alert. The focus was off the coast of Fukushima. That is why JMA initially issued a warning for Fukushima Prefecture. However, tsunami of 140 meters have been registered in Miyagi prefectures as well. And that is why tsunami warning was issued to Miyagi prefectures as well. Therefore, please never go see the coastline at this moment, and please stay evacuated. Additionally, past 9 p.m., Katsura, Chiba, and Kashima Port in Ibaragi have had tsunami of 30 centimeters high. Katsuhura, 30 centimeters high. 9:06, Kashima Port has had a tsunami of 30 centimeters. And at 8:58, Kamaishi Iwate had a tsunami of 20 centimeters. At around 9 p.m., new tsunami waves are coming in to different ports.